To get us more on the significance of this article, we're going to be crossing over to our senior editor, Pallavi Ghosh, who now joins us on the broadcast. Pallavi, good morning. First, would you be able to go through the key points of what Rahul Gandhi has said in his article?
This article was written by him in a national newspaper and it's called Satyam Shivam Sundaram. And he, of course, doesn't mention any political party. He basically talks about Hinduism. He compares it to ocean, which means, something which embraces all beliefs and thoughts. And he also talks about the fact that, we do have fears and our fears, once you get control of that, that's when you become a true Hindu. Towards the end of the article, he also makes reference to the fact that, Hinduism does not allow you to hurt anyone or make any difference or discrimination on the basis of your thoughts and beliefs. I think this is here where that oblique reference comes into the BJP. On earlier occasions, Rahul Gandhi has often said that a Hindutva or a Hinduism agenda followed by the BJP is not in sync with what real Hinduism is all about, because a real Hindu would never make any difference or discriminate against people on the basis of their caste, creed and religion. He's always accused the BJP of using their religion to hit out at the minorities. And that is why he has evoked a strong reaction coming in from the BJP led by Anurag Thakur, Tejasvi Surya, among others.
Now, as you just mentioned, there have been strong reactions to this. Union Minister Anurag Thakur, you also have Kanchan Gupta, who's the senior advisor to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Then you also have a tweet that's also come in from Tejasvi Surya. Now, Tejasvi Surya had actually not taken a very strong stance against this. Could you tell us more about what he'd said?
Basically, what Tejasvi Surya has tweeted to say that, Hinduism is something which makes everyone talk about it, including Rahul Gandhi. The BJP has accused Rahul of being a chunavi or a poll-bound Hindu. I remember elections of UP, Gujarat, even the Lok Sabha elections. There was a feedback which went into the Congress top leadership that one of the main reasons why it lost out not once but twice in Lok Sabha was this perception which the BJP had been able to build up that it's a minority appeasement party. That is when you saw Congress go on an overdrive to put forward the Hindutva plan. And Rahul Gandhi certainly was projected as a Janeo Dharu Brahmin, who was a Shiv Bhakt as well. Like he went to Kailash Mansarovar, Vaishno Devi, Kedarnath and so on and so forth. Has it worked for the Congress politically? Well, it hasn't. Instead, the BJP has accused it of being a pole-bound Hindu, only being selective. I think the latest controversy regarding the Sanatan Dharma has only added on to this narrative which BJP has built up about him.
Absolutely. And considering the article that he's now made, when it comes to the response that it's received, not just from politicians, but from other individuals as well, maybe those who are specifically involved in the religion, say priests as well, has anything come in from that end?
Well, I don't know how many of them are going to be very openly speaking about it, but certainly the point that they've always made is that, first of all, Rahul Gandhi also needs to understand what Hinduism is all about. He cannot talk about it, he cannot lay claim to the fact that he is the only one who understands what Hindutva is all about. Every time a controversy like the Sanatan Dharma is revoked or they are sporadic comments from many Congress leaders, it certainly adds to the ammunition of the BJP that don't teach us what Hinduism is all about. Why is it that a Congress wants to peddle this path? Because, we know that 2024 Lok Sabha elections, also one of the main points is going to be the Ram Mandir issue. The Congress doesn't want to lose out on that narrative, particularly in poll-bound states and in northern India.
Absolutely. That's also a very point that you're also emphasizing on, the fact that Ram Mandir is also going to be one of the points for the Congress when they talk about Hinduism. But you were just mentioning the fact that Anurag Thakur, when he hit out, he specifically said that Rahul Gandhi, the grand old party, they've always insulted Hindus in the past. Would you be able to go over some of those instances?
But, I think the most recent example is that of the Sanatan Dharma. The Congress party began supporting it initially by saying that everyone is entitled to their point of view. When they realized that it was boomeranging on them, and certainly the feedback which was given in by leaders like Kamal Nath. You remember Aisha Kamal Nath was the first leader, because he is facing an election in Madhya Pradesh, who said that, everyone should be allowed to have their point of view and he should not actually, start questioning religious beliefs. And he was clearly taking an attack on Dayanidhi's talent. I think the Congress realized that this was something which was going to hurt them, and something which Anurag Thakur is also making a reference to, that, the Congress selectively uses this narrative when it suits them for elections, but it has never benefited them. I remember there have been earlier occasions also where comments have been made by Rahul Gandhi himself when he said that Hinduism practiced by the BJP is not the real Hinduism. And these are the kind of comments which always help the BJP's narrative, especially in an election year, and I would say more specifically for Lok Sabha elections, where clearly Ram Mandir, the Sanatan Dharma issue, all of them are going to be used by the BJP.
Pallavi, I'm curious about something. The fact that we're also talking about Sanatan Dharma here. A few weeks ago, more than a month ago rather, Udayanidhi Stalin had made that remark talking about the eradication of Sanatan Dharma. Do you think that this specific article of Rahul Gandhi, is it likely to evoke a similar response, though it's not calling for the eradication of anything, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but he's just seeking to define a religion?
Yeah, he is. I mean, what he's trying to do is to mention the fact that Hinduism doesn't mean that you are allowed to kind of discriminate against people. I mean, a devout Hindu can practice his religion, but they cannot discriminate against someone who is a non-Hindu. He makes a detailed reference to the entire fear factor. I think that's again another oblique reference to the BJP, that the BJP has unleashed a governance of terror, very often in the name of religion. I mean, for example, the cow slaughter issue, the cow bhakt brigade, recent examples which keep coming up about people from the minorities being attacked. And Rahul Gandhi is making the point that, you don't need to be fearful. If you overcome fear, then you know what Hinduism and religion is all about.
Absolutely. Pallavi, I'm going to request that you stay with us because we're going to take a look at some of the key takeaways from Rahul's editorial on Hinduism. There are a few points that he's made when, again, as we mentioned, he's trying to define Hinduism. Let's go through those. What he's saying is that it is incorrect to call it a set of cultural norms. Beyond this, he has also said that to bind it to a nation or a geography is to limit it. Then he also said that it's how we understand our fears. And this is actually where he draws upon an analogy. He's talking about the world as a whole as an ocean, saying that we tend to drown in our fears. And that's the specific analogy that he makes in that article as well. But then he also says that it's a path towards realization and truth. Quite interesting, in fact, that this article is also releasing today, considering that it's Gandhi Jayanti. Beyond this, he also said that Hinduism belongs to no one and is open to anyone. He also says that action and duty to defend the weak is a Hindu's dharma, and a Hindu has the courage to embrace her fears. A Hindu is not a victim. A Hindu is humble, ready to listen. She loves, respects, and accepts all paths. Those are just some of the key takeaways, though in English, if you want to take a look at the entire article, he's actually put it out on his Twitter. But we're going to be crossing back over to our senior editor, Pallavi Ghosh. Pallavi, one thing I do want to ask you about is that through this entire article that's been put out, what is interesting is that he's using she instead of he. How do you see this?
Well, that's because the Shakti and a woman part, that's also a very interesting point that you make, Aisha, because we all know that every political party is now trying to woo the woman vote back. And Hinduism is something which many believe is overpowered by Shakti, which is Ma Durga. And I think that's essentially what the reference is also.
All right, we seem to have lost that connection with our senior editor. We'll try to establish that in a short while from now. But essentially, this is a political row that has been stoked after Rahul Gandhi released an article on Hinduism, again, seeking to define it. This comes just about a few weeks, rather, after the entire row over Sanatan Dharma hit the INDI alliance. But when it comes to this article that he's put out, he states that it is a misunderstanding to call Hinduism a set of cultural norms. He also says that to bind Hinduism to a particular nation or geography is to limit it, and that a Hindu is not a victim. There have been very strong reactions that have now come out in response to this. You have the reactions of Union Minister Anurag Thakur. He has actually tweeted out to talk about the fact that Hindutva teaches us harmony and awakens the feeling of welfare of all. He also says, and he doesn't name Rahul Gandhi here, but he says, and I quote in his tweet, "It is easy to write long articles on Hindu religion and Hindutva, but bringing Hindutva into life, putting it into practice and living it is not within the reach of an electoral Hindu. Some people whose very life and politics are based on the axis of anti-Hinduism," and this is again where there's a pot shot which has been taken at the Congress. Many a time, the BJP has in fact hit out at the Grand Old Party saying that they are anti-Hindus. Now, beyond this, what Anurag Thakur has also said is that they are forgetting that this is the new India which recognizes religious invaders and also knows how to show them a mirror.